Theo, do you ever feel like, are you ever worried that someone will look over one of your old bits and go, "Whoa, that's a bit naughty," and then try and start something or cancel you? Do you know what I mean? Do you ever worry about that?
Yeah, I do sometimes. I think everybody listens to their old stuff, though, and is kind of unimpressed by it in some ways because you're evolving.
Yeah, unimpressed is different, though, brother, because if you are unimpressed, if I'm unimpressed with something you've done, I'm not going to come after you and try and ruin your career, right? But for some people, if that's what I think he's getting at, which is like, are you worried that people, you said the wrong thing, which wasn't even the wrong thing back then, and now it is, and people are going to come after you? Or is that not a concern for you?
I don't think it's not a concern, but I don't think anybody could realistically look at me and think that I've never said the wrong thing. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I know what you're saying.
To be honest with you,
Right.
I was raised in the breadth of the wrong thing, so I've heard all of its songs, you know.
Right.
But
do you think that makes you a better comic, Theo? Like, in the UK, we've got this generation of very, like, rich, posh, middle class, went to Oxford and Cambridge. They're very smart comedians. Do you sometimes think that the way you grew up, the fact you come from such a poor background, do you think that just makes you funnier, that adversity, that stuff you came through?
Yeah, I think you got to have more. The worst shit is the thing, if you don't have any, and this wasn't us, but this is just like a hypothetical thing. If you don't have any, like laughter will keep you warm, It's like, so if you don't have anything, poor people sit around, they're more connected, there's not as much sheltering from the world. There's not any like hedges or any gates. All your shit's hanging out the window. It's like, so you're more like, things just are a lot more real.
Right.
It's hard to hide. Being poor is pretty hard to hide, And so, and poor people are outdoors more. They just hang out outside more. And so you're talking with people and laughing. People are going to want to laugh, so you start laughing more. So I think a lot of that just makes sense. Like, we hung outside a lot, maybe just as kids, but also parents were out there smoking, and they had, some people were, what do you call it? Pedophiles. And they had, people, they'd have pedophiles out there trying to fucking hang out with you and shit. And so like everybody's milling around, and it's just like, it's a good soup to fucking, make dumplings out of, So it's a good soup to make humor out of, really.
Yeah.
Because when you got everything right there, all the ingredients, it's a great time to pull jokes, So that's some of the stuff that I miss, is just the reality was right there all the time,
Yeah.
And it's fun. That was funny.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah. And does the life of stand-up, does that make you happy? You enjoy it?
Well, it's interesting because it gets pretty lonesome as you get more successful in some ways.
Yeah?
Yeah, it does. It gets pretty lonesome, I think, in some ways.
Like, give us an example.
Well, like, you go to the audience now, if you have a bigger audience, right? You go there to a theater, and you go out, and they come in from this way, and you come in from the back, and you kind of meet along this line at the stage, and there's not really any commingling, and then you both go your separate ways, Whereas I think with the clubs, it used to feel a little bit more like involved, and you and your buddies were always there together. But once you kind of go out touring and, kind of make your way and find your success in it, which is awesome, you kind of have to be, it's not lonely, but a lot of that is time, with just you. So I think you have to learn to bring like your mates along and your fee-mates or whatever. And whatever, if you bring animal or whatever, if you bring, snacks or animals or whatever. Some people bring a lot of stuff.
Same thing,
like
man.
Yeah. I guess, man.
But that's interesting.
Yeah, it's been interesting, man. I guess. I don't know what we're supposed to be talking about exactly.
There is nothing that we're supposed
Okay,
to be
good.
talking. We're just having a conversation, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is this?
But
is
you
this
guys are
uncomf-
like detectives, huh?
Yeah,
Do we feel like detectives?
A little bit.
a little bit. Is this uncomfortable for you?
No, I don't think so. I don't know. So, but I don't feel like it is that much. Maybe some moments.
Okay.
Yeah. But what we're trying to get to the heart, I guess, and we're trying to understand, Theo, is just like
What makes you tick?
what makes you tick, the way you work.
Yeah, and what like I guess I mean you guys are kind of like it's like unfairness hunters maybe. Does it feel like that?
Is
a
that
little
what
bit?
you think?
Yeah.
Yeah. How so?
Like unfairness hunters. Like you hunt down things that seem unfair.
You know what? That's a good description.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it fair or no?
I think that's a fair description.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I like things that try and be fair, you know?
Yeah.
And it's hard to equivocate that or figure that out, you
Yeah.
know?
Right.
It's hard to figure it out. So I think you have to have people that are hot on the case, you know?
That's a good description. That's a really, really good description, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're not trying to start any shit. We're just curious about how people see the world, and from our perspective, we both come from backgrounds where we feel fairness is important. People not being mistreated is important. You know, people not being picked on because of the way they grew up or what their skin color is or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, either way, black or white, doesn't really matter, right?
Yeah, it was tough. Yeah, I mean, like, there's never like when it came to like black, white stuff, it always felt like it was the white person's fault, even if
Right.
you felt like, you know, because in our town, black people were having a tougher time overall.
Yeah.
You know, and so, you know, a lot of times I felt like they got the benefit of the doubt from people, maybe from authorities and stuff they
Right.
didn't. I don't know what, you know, that's like. I just have only been just me.
That's interesting that you say that, because like in the UK, like we talk a lot about like white privilege. And look, if you've come from money and you're white, you're definitely privileged. But there's loads of places in the UK which is just like the places that you grew up in, like where these people legitimately have nothing. They've got nothing, you know, and every day for them is a struggle. And then for people to come along and go, you're privileged, to me, that's,
That's crazy.
you know?
Right.
Well, yeah, it's crazy. You're like, well, if I am, at least give me some of it,
Yeah.
you know? Yeah, it's crazy, man. I think, but also it's like a lot of the people that say that, they're not from those places.
No.
They've never been there. They don't know what it's like, you know? A lot of people in Los Angeles, you know, in some of the community, they didn't know none of them could even relate to anything I was talking about because they just didn't know it, you know? They were all, like, it was mostly people from New York or LA or Boston, you know, and it was more like just from a different kind of class of society sometimes.
Yeah.
Not always, but maybe that's going to start changing too, I think, if there's less, if a lot of like that overtly woke programming kind of goes numb, eventually that will have to evolve, because I don't think that the entertainment industry really has any couth. I don't know if that's the word or not.
What does that mean?
I don't know what it means.
I don't
Do
know
you
what it means,
means,
either.
man?
He doesn't know
It
what
might
it
not
means.
even be a
It
word.
doesn't have, do you mean like clout? Do you mean like the entertainment industry is dying, Theo?
No, I think, but they don't have any real, like, moral compass, I don't think.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah.
Or maybe that's not it. That's fucking crazy.
No,
dude.
no, no. To talk about that some more. That's interesting.
But no, this is what it is. They just follow where the money goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay.
So I think
today
of-
it's woke, we go this way. Tomorrow it's not woke, we go that way.
Right.